About 60% of children go to school. The other 40% they just don't school. And of that 60%, only 50 or 60% of them go past class 6. It's changing a bit now, the government's trying to do something about it, but that's basically the situation. And so a lot of children, when they've gone to primary school here in Santo, which is the biggest island in Vanuatu, they have to go to other islands, leave their homes, they're ill prepared for it, their parents can ill afford the fares, because no schooling is free here, and they have to go and live in boarding schools. We just opened the doors, you know. It just grew from that point on. It just grew, and you know, people would come and want to start, and we moved from that room to another room, from that second room to a little house, from that house to another house. Then we rented extra room on the top of a building, and you know, it just grew, and we ended up with about 90 odd kids. We opened this school this year with 216 children, and now it is called Rowhani Baha'i School. And we vigorously join holy writings and the prayers and the teachings of Baha'i inside the school curriculum, so that every class in the primary school actually has a Baha'i class, you know, like a Baha'i children's class. And all the class 7, 8 and 9, they all do 2 hours every week. They do the junior youth.
We don't want it to be like a teacher-student thing. The junior youth idea is that there are older youth or young adults who are like mentors for these young people who are just moving into that uncertain stage of their life, and they're looking for direction, and they're looking for somebody, like they're looking for a touchstone really, because at the time, you know, between 11 and 15 they make all kinds of decisions, and this is the time that they need somebody who's older, who's been there, done that, and who can say, it's okay, you know, what you're feeling is normal, and what about this, what about that, and you know, to have that kind of mentoring is important.
The reason we run the school is to help the individual develop so that they can contribute to society and the community, and so that the community itself can be raised up and thereby help the individual. There is a beautiful quote from Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, which I would like to quote if I may. "Regard man as a mine, rich in gems of inestimable value. Education can alone cause it to reveal its treasures and enable mankind to benefit therefrom." So what we try to look at when in our school, in the Rowhani Baha'i School, is to say, what are the beauties and the strengths within the individuals? Let us raise them out and lift them out and enable them to show them forth, so that community can benefit, and the benefit of the community and its strength can enhance in return the individual. It's wonderful to see the children developing, and it's wonderful to see their not only their academic achievements, but how they grow and develop spiritually, and how they develop socially. We have many unsolicited recommendations or comments, unsolicited comments from parents saying how the behaviour of their children has changed since they started to come into Rowhani School. This is because, of course, of the focus that we have on the virtues, the patterns of behaviour which we expect of them. The school is growing all the time and changing, and we have to decide, is this the right road, is this the right path? And always we use as a touchstone, does it lift up the individual in their spiritual, social and academic life so that they can contribute to the community and the community can benefit therefrom and in return lift up the individual. So that is basically what lies behind our, it sounds quite serious and heavy, but actually it's great fun. And we have lots of exciting adventures, seeing the children grow and develop and change and start to, when it dawns, sometimes you can see the light dawning on them when we teach them about what their life is about and what they can do with it. The Baha'i faith, as you may know, respects all religions. We do not have a window into anyone's soul, so we do not try to convert people. We respect their beliefs and their religions. However, we do teach the virtues which are common to all religions: courtesy, respect, patience, tolerance, understanding, forgiveness.
Can you tell me what some of the virtues are, kindergarten? Can you put your hand up and tell? Oh, there we go. Respect, that's a good one. Yes.
And we teach that actually in the school so that the children develop socially and spiritually as well as academically. Sue is the principal. She's a trained teacher and she looks after the academic side of the school and the teacher training and so on. My responsibility is administrative. I look after the finances. I look after discipline to a degree and generally try to set the Baha'i tenor of the school, of course. Sue and I do that together. We guide them by our example. The way we treat each other with respect, we speak clearly and well, and the children see that and they see we manifest the virtues.
Ô Seigneur, je suis faible, fortifie-moi.
The Youth Year of Service program in the school has become an integral part of the school because the school cannot really function effectively without them these days. While they are helping us, the experience that they have coming away from their comfort zone and coming into an unknown environment, it really expands their mind.
Ô Seigneur, honore-moi, m'admettons dans ton royaume. Ô Seigneur, honore-moi.
It helps them to have a broader vision of the world, and because they can leave their home and come to a relatively safe environment where they can grow and experience these experiences with relative safety. It's really great for them too. So the school benefits and they benefit. And so, you know, most of our youth so far have come from Australia, but we're getting more coming from New Zealand now, which is really good because the New Zealand ones are real can-do Kiwis.
It's very common for Baha'i youth to do a youth year of service straight after school. It gives us time to really become closer to the Baha'i faith and just to view the world from a better perspective. I chose Vanuatu because I was possibly interested in becoming a teacher. Coming to the school has given me an opportunity to look at what it's like to be a teacher, look at the kids, maybe look at different areas of teaching I might enjoy. And so it's really opened up my mind, given me huge experiences. I'm really enjoying it. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life. I'm developing as a person. I'm growing in so many ways, being faced with so many different tests and opportunities, and it's just unreal. I mean, I'm so happy that I've done this instead of going straight to university.
I think that I've grown spiritually a lot since I've been here. So Baha'is talk about spiritual growth as it's like the growth of a tree. So when you receive things like water, when you pray, when you have experiences, that's when you grow spiritually. And so going through hardships, that's something that has helped me to grow spiritually here.
Vanuatu is incredible. It's like paradise on earth. Everything, the people are beautiful, friendly, warm. You wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Being in Vanuatu has really opened up my eyes to different cultures of the world. Seeing people living in such poverty and yet being so happy is really a life-changing experience. You realise that the more you have, the less happy you actually are, and the less you have, the more happy you are. I definitely think this experience will help me throughout the rest of my life.
The people here are wonderful. I guess that's definitely been one of the highlights of being here. You walk past in the street and people wave, they say good night or hello to you, and that's something that, you know, coming from places like Australia and New Zealand, you're not used to. And it's really a nice thing. The people are really warm and friendly, so that's definitely one of the things. The children are beautiful and everyone here is so spiritual.
Both Tony and I and our family have a great deal of love for the people of Vanuatu. We love being here, and you know, I think that one of the things that we love is their joy and their laughter. Just real people, you know, and they speak from the heart, or they're just ready to laugh. But the other thing that we really like about Vanuatu is and this is maybe part of this friendliness, is the generosity of spirit. They really are so generous. They give of themselves. They give of their, you know, they give of their material things. They give of their food, and you know, just without even being asked, they'll just give. You know, they think about others. They don't just. It's not like me. It's always the group, always looking at others, and it's really healthy and good. There's always enough for everybody, and nobody goes hungry, and everybody always has a place to sleep, and there are no street kids here because everyone looks after everyone. There's no thought of like, well, that's their problem, we'll let them do. You know, people are always helping each other, and yeah, so you can see why we love living here.
Sue and I lived in a lovely home in an orchard in New Zealand by a lovely stream, and we had 3 children and our own small business, and we were very happy. And Sue was expecting our 4th child, and in an evening we'd put the children to bed and we would sit down together, and we would look at each other and we would say, is this it? You know, is this what we're going to do now? And we thought, no, maybe we should do a little more than this. So we thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could pioneer? But of course we had our small children, Sue was pregnant, and we only had this small business which we'd recently started and wasn't worth a great deal, and so we couldn't afford to pioneer, but we did want to pioneer, and so we said, let us tell Baha'u'llah that we want to pioneer, and we'll leave it to him. If he feels our hearts are ready to pioneer, he will open the door. If not, well, let us be patient. So we sat down that evening and we said the prayer for pioneers. And then we put it out of our mind, went to bed. The next time I went into our store, we had a store, natural remedies, vitamins, you know, that kind of thing we sold. The very next time that I went into our store, I opened it up, and a chap came in, and he said, I want to buy your store.
The current MP for Santo had met with the National Assembly. He'd just come back from a visit in India, and he'd seen the Baha'i schools there, and he had asked if it would be possible for the National Assembly to put a Baha'i school on Santo.
Sue, there's a chap just come in and said he wants to buy the store. And Sue said, let's go with it. We'd never heard of Vanuatu, but we said, okay, we'll think about it, find out about it. And we thought we would homeschool. And we started our little school in a room above a stationery store. We had, I think, 7 kids, 7 students. 4 of whom were ours. Sue was our only teacher, and I did all the running around and got things organised. We called it Rowhani School after Mr. Ruhollah Rowhani. He was asked by the Muslim government to recant his faith, and he said no, he would not, because he believed Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, was the messenger of God for today. The Muslim authorities insisted that if he did not, he would be imprisoned, and he was, and eventually he was killed. And this was brought to our notice just as we decided to open this school, and we found out later that Rowhani means spiritual.
Like a mighty wind is blowing in our hearts.
We opened in 1999, and it's just progressively blossomed, and that really has been the main focus of our life here now.
We just opened the doors, you know, and all kinds of people came. Some kids had never been in, of course, never held a pen before, a pencil. We had no resources anyway. Sue used to teach with her guitar, and bits of coral off the floor, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. The Baha'i friends came out of the bush. They would climb these trees with a bush knife or an axe, and they would be way up in the tree hacking these branches off. Deeds of stamina and strength and courage, and they cut all these posts and planted them all around the 3 hectares of land that we got. They were amazing, utterly amazing.
It's a myth to think that your children, if you take them to the islands, that they're going to be deprived, because the most important things, which are, you know, a healthy society and friendly people, and not too much focus on the material things. I think, you know, low key. It's a healthy lifestyle for children, and we've found that Vanuatu is a good place to grow children. You know, we have been a bit isolated from things like television and so forth, which seems that television moulds a lot of the lives of young children, television and computer games and things like that, which I think we always felt that our children growing up, they were getting the childhood that we had, which was a lot of outside playing and a lot of imagination and things like that, which I think children these days in more developed countries, sometimes they miss out on that.
We could say to the children, off you go, and those who wanted to, they did. They ran off into the village, they disappeared for hours, they played. We don't know to this day what they got up to, but they used to come back filthy, didn't they? Absolutely filthy, but well fed. Often they'd been eating with the families, sleeping in their homes, and if we wanted them, as the evening drew on, we'd just go into the village and say, anybody seen Ian? And they'd say, oh yes, we stopped the house long way, and we'd go and get him, wouldn't we, and bring him, and he'd go for his, we'd take him down to the river for his, because that was our bathroom, the river. It was very satisfying.
People talk a lot about good and evil and things like that, but you know, we can think about darkness as the absence of light, and badness or evil is just the absence of good. So when you're educating children, if you look at the children and see the good in them and see that they're not bad, it's just that they haven't learned a virtue, and this gives us a whole new approach. So instead of punishing them because they're bad, you're actually looking at ways of enriching their spiritual life. Instead of saying just be good, you say practice courtesy. And you know, you educate them about what courtesy is. Every Monday morning we have a new virtue of the week. Excellence, kindness, truthfulness, and obedience. All of those things. You see, these little children have been practicing those things, and when they practice those virtues, they make our world a better place. So we want to honour these little students, and we want to give them a nice shiny sticker to remember what a wonderful job they're doing at changing the world. It's just progressively blossomed, and that really has been the main focus of our life here now.
God guide me, protect me.
they may not recognise all of the words, but instinctively they know, and they seem to respond. You know, they respond in their hearts. They respond, and it helps them. You know, it helps them. And so even in the biggest thrill is in the kindergarten. All these little kids, you know, they have a virtues chart in there, and you know, they'll teach the children about obedience, and they'll say, you know, obedience means, you know, doing what the teacher says. They'll say, okay, everybody come and sit on the mat, and they'll go and stand by the virtues star chart ready to give ticks. And so, you know, the kids just zoom over to the mat and sit down, and they get ticks, and after a few ticks they get a little prize or a sticker or something like that. And they really love it, and it's so easy, you know. They're just growing up with that knowledge of those virtues.
We use the holy writings in the assemblies. Every day starts with prayers in the classrooms and holy writings, the virtues verse as we call it. In this school, as you know, we strive for academic excellence. We try hard to learn our lessons, but also we try to learn to behave well and show the virtues, show respect and courtesy, gentleness, forgiveness, and those nice things that make our lives happy and good. And so every week we have our Virtues Award, and the teachers give names of those children who have tried hardest to show the virtues. It doesn't matter about their academic level, this is their behaviour and their respect for one another and for the teachers. We want you in Rowhani Baha'i School to learn how to use your knowledge in a wise way, and that is why we give you the virtues. You know, you go around the classrooms and you talk to the children, you talk to the students, and you praise their work, and when you see them playing football, you say how well they're doing, and you mention their names in assembly, and you know, that kind of thing. And they see that, you know, they see that the staff really like them. So when they do something wrong and they come to my office, instead of shouting at them and talking cross to them, and I ask them why this has happened and how sad it makes us feel that such a fine person as this, who we like, is doing this kind of thing in our school. Why are you doing this in our school, you know? And it's very interesting, because you see the boys, and the girls too, they come in and you can see that shutter is down in their eyes. You know, they're ready for aggression, they're ready for criticism, they're ready to be demeaned, and they're just shut off. And when you show warmth and love, especially if you use the words of Baha'u'llah and you show your own sadness, they start to weep. Quite often I've had the big lads in there and they weep, you know, and they see, and when I see that and I see their heart is touched, I say to them then, let's you and I have an agreement. Let's you and I make a personal agreement. You will not do that anymore. You will not hit girls, or you will not bully the little ones, or, you know, like that. You will not swear in class, and I will protect you. And if anyone cheeks you or says anything against you, come and see me, and I will be your champion. And then every now and then I know who I've spoken to, and every now and then I'm walking around the school and I see them playing football or talking with their friends or eating their lunch, and I just go up to them and say to them, everything okay? We try to make sure that the children are safe and happy. They feel safe, they feel happy. There's no child here need to be worried about what anybody's going to do to him in these school grounds, you know. You can see they freely play, they select their own groups, they mix, and there are no little cliques who are oppressing others, you know, and I think that's a very, very important aspect. That was the first thing we focused on. Eliminate prejudice, eliminate any kind of oppression, whether it was physical or psychological, you know. Remove that from the ambience of the school. The best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. And justice starts with caring for the weakest. And that's what we try to do very hard here. You know, the children always have recourse to me and to Sue, of course. And they can, any of them, fearlessly they come and they speak to us and they say, you know, this has happened or that has happened, and we sort it out for them. It's really a very important aspect of this school, justice. Many of our teachers, in fact, if not all of them, are in the process of doing the Rowhani books. Well, of course, many of them are not Baha'is. In fact, we don't have many Baha'i teachers, but they're doing the Rowhani books, so it's wonderful.
One of the principles of the Baha'i faith is that if you are going to, if you have to choose between educating your children, boys or girls, you should always educate your girls first, because the girls are the future mothers and therefore the first educators of the children. And so when you educate a girl, you're going to educate all the children as well. In one generation, you can just impact so much with educating the girl children. So I became a Baha'i fairly quickly. I investigated and felt that this was a good thing to do and a worthwhile thing to do with my life.
We've had a really good standard of you. I can't really tell you what attracted me to the Baha'i faith as a specific principle. It was purely initially with me a heart thing. When I first heard about the Baha'i faith, I was overwhelmed by a feeling of joy and optimism. All of a sudden, despite all the depression in the world and the difficulties and the problems that were faced, here was a man, Baha'u'llah, telling us this is what you can do.